here. All right, let me get everybody, and let's get our all right, let's get our little slides up. All right, hold on a second. I always feel like I'm navigating a rocket ship or something when I'm getting these slides up. Let's do a share screen. Share screen, share screen. Let me get my chat up. You're at the house? Okay. You made it home safely. All right, hold on one second. Let me do this. All right, 12:02, everything's on do not disturb. Phones turned down, phones are on do not disturb. Everybody is focused. Let's get started. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday, hey, Lucky. I didn't get a chance to call you. I didn't get a chance to call you last week, but I got to give you a call. Oh, happy Thursday. Today's what, the 2nd? Oh my God. No, but the 3rd, November 3rd. We are fastly approaching the end of the year, but we are also in, like I said last week, we're in business planning season. So as you guys are working through your deals and your transactions, I want you to take a little bit of time. Take about, definitely you're going to take the next an hour for the next few weeks to go over some business planning fundamentals. But also once we get off the call, make sure you put some of these things in place, specifically what we are discussing today. This is a topic that we discuss every year. And I had mentioned last week that we were going to get into business planning, but I forgot, some of the I forgot this is part of business planning that we need to start at, because a lot of things build on top of that. So that topic we'll get into. But for those of you who are new to us, welcome to your huddle. Welcome to your weekly Experts University huddle, where we come in really quickly each Thursday for a quick business strategy, quick conversation on current events as it relates to our market, and just business planning, bite-sized business planning tips over your lunch break. It is always an honor and a privilege, and I'm always happy to see everybody's faces in the place each week. And so for those who I have not had an opportunity to personally meet before, my name is Racole Jackson. I am the founder of Experts University, as well as the CEO of the Experts Group. We have a couple of brands that we operate under the Experts Group. They include Motto Mortgage Experts. Yes, the Fed bumped the interest rate up again, another 0.75 basis points, but we're going to have a conversation about that, right? You guys know how to have that conversation with your buyers. There's still remedies in the market. And like I mentioned before, definitely don't back away from having conversations with buyers, because there are still must move and best move buyers in the market, right? It's still their best move, regardless of what the interest rates are reflecting right now because of their current situation, be it a rental rate increase, be it they must move. There's still a best move and a must move. So make sure that you guys are continuing to stay abreast of what's going on with the mortgage rates, what you're able to do, what you're able to offer to your clients in the vein of easing the impact of these interest rates, buy down, right? Using the seller credits, where they can buy down their rate for 2 years, refinance on the 3rd year. Let's just get them. Hey, Karen, glad you're here. Let's just get them in their homes, right? You guys have probably heard the term, what do they say? Date the rate, marry the house. Date the rate, marry the house. Meaning let's get the house and we could change the rate later. We'll date the rate. Like we'll change that later via refinance, or maybe even a resale if we have to, but let's marry the house. Let's get in at a low rate today, and then we'll deal with the rest of it later. Also under the Experts brand is Title Experts, right? That is our first baby. That's how you guys, that's how most people know us. I just hit somebody, asked them to unmute. Sorry, don't unmute whoever I just put that for. Our Title Experts brand. And then Transaction Experts, our transaction coordination brand. For those who have not had an opportunity to close with Title Experts before, we welcome you to experience a Title Experts closing. Some of the benefits and features of working with Title Experts include, we are an attorney managed firm. You know that every closing agent in Florida is not made the same. Certainly everyone is not an attorney. We are an attorney managed firm. We do provide a dedicated closing team. We endeavor that when you call into the office, you speak to your closer, you speak to your closing coordinator. We do provide a dedicated transaction coordinator, our closing concierge. Also, regular status updates. One of the biggest things that we know is a headache for real estate professionals is not knowing what's going on with their deals, right? They don't hear from the closing agent until there's a problem. And sometimes when the problem is way too far down the road. But we provide regular status updates and problem solving. We don't bring you a problem, guys, unless it's going to potentially delay something. But for the most part, a lot of problems are resolved on the back end. You don't even hear about it. All you hear about is, here's your scheduled closing date and time, right? We send new contracts to contracts@titleexperts.com. General closings email, go to closings@titleexperts.com, and you can call us at 866-5-EXPERTS. Today's topic, business planning season. Business planning season. I feel like ding, 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 business planning season. So I'm going to start from my mantra is, and if you know this, put it in the chat. Congratulations, you are now the what of your real estate? I'm going to say business. I'm going to go ahead and say business. You are the, Karen got it. CEO, yes. You are the CEO of your very own, yes, you are the CEO of your very own real estate business. So for today, I'm actually gonna lean in on the business part of it. Business. What's the difference between a business and an individual? A lot, right? The infrastructure, the planning, the communication, the banking is much different for a business versus an individual. So today, before we start talking about the plan for the business, we got to set up the business. And so I can't skirt over it. There's a lot of us that do have our entity set up already, but there's equally many more that do not. So we have to have this conversation today, and it won't be long. You guys are actually going to go back and review. For those who do not have their entity set up, you're going to go back and review this recording and get this work done. Any questions that you have, feel free to shoot them over to me. But here's the deal, guys. You are a business. So you should not be operating as an individual. You shouldn't hold yourself out when you're working with your clients as an individual in your individual name for a number of reasons. Two of them, most importantly, being personal protection and financial planning, right? So what am I saying? When you got your real estate license, they issued the license to Lucky as an individual. That's it. So he takes his license, he starts working, he starts doing his business. Angela, it went to Angela, that's it. And that's how most people receive their license. However, you have to know that it's important the very next step for you to take with that license is to incorporate. You need to incorporate for legal protection and financial planning and protection. You need to go incorporate. And that incorporation is going to be your real estate company. Again, hello, congratulations, CEO. You are now, congratulations, you are now the CEO of your very own real estate business, right? So here's why, the first reason why you need to incorporate for legal protection. In the event there is a legal dispute concerning your transaction, Tish, you're going to be able to do this yourself. Once I'm going to give you the whole play. I'll answer your questions, but it's so easy. You'll be able to do it yourself. We did offer the service, but guys, it's so easy. And you don't need me. I can answer your questions and you'll be just fine. So if there's a legal dispute concerning the services you provided, let's say, for example, so this deal just goes way south. They just like, oh my God, Courtney just messed this deal up so bad, I'm suing him. Well, if that's the case, and Courtney doesn't have his license yet incorporated as a PA, and as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to use your name because I don't want you to feel bad. I want to say Sally Sue. I'm not even going to put that energy out there. So Sally Sue Realtor, just her deal just goes south, right? $30 million escrow deposit. I just use a ridiculous example so that you guys can you remember that. If you've been in my trainings before, I always say I use a ridiculous example because you'll remember the ridiculous. So Sally Sue Realtor is representing a buyer. The buyer, they made a $30 million escrow deposit on a $1 billion purchase, whatever, $30 million escrow deposit on a $1 billion purchase. Well, in her working the deal, some type of way, they defaulted. And now their $30 million escrow deposit, let's say they went all the way through the process and the court found that, yeah, sorry, buyer, you defaulted. The $30 million is going to the seller. And Sally Sue Realtor, her buyer says, oh no, you messed this up. I am suing you. Guess what? Sally Sue Realtor will be sued. And let's say Sally Sue Realtor is a top producing realtor. Let's say she did her thing. Like she has investment properties. She's sitting on, $3 million in cash in her savings. She's really been successful. And the Sally Sue Realtor is the buyer, her buyer gets a judgment against her for, let's say, negligence. You were negligent in your representation of me in this transaction. And her buyer gets a judgment for $30 million. Guess what? Sally Sue's real estate, if she owns it in her personal name, her bank account, and everything else that has her name on it, her individual name on it, can be reached to satisfy that judgment. Because she's operating as an individual. Now, if Sally Sue took this class, was in this huddle, go ahead, Tiffany.
How you doing? I have a question concerning the name. So are you saying we could put it in can we use our name like Tiffany Daniels LLC to protect us?
Yep, that's actually the next slide. Yep.
I'm sorry, like you have to put PLLC instead of PLLC.
You can do PALLC or PLLC.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And no problem. That's a very good question. That's actually going to be the next topic, the next slide. But let's say, for example, Sally Sue incorporates. She is part of the Experts University. She took this huddle. She's on this huddle and she said, ooh, wait a minute. I have too much to lose. I have real estate. I have all these things. Or let's say she's just starting out and she's like, listen, I intend on having all these different things. And more importantly, I understand that I'm operating a business. I'm not operating as an individual. So I need to incorporate. So she run it back. Let's say Sally Sue did incorporate. As soon as she got her license, she was part of this huddle. She said, you know what, I'm part of Experts University. I know that I have my license. I need to go incorporate. So she's now Sally Sue PA. So we run it back. She's Sally Sue PA. Let's run it forward. All the same fact pattern applies. Transaction, she represents a buyer. Buyer made a $30,000 escrow deposit, defaulted, went through litigation, was found to be liable to the seller. $30 million is awarded to the seller. Buyer turns around, sues Sally for Sally Sue PA. He has to sue PA because that's who provided the service for negligent service, is awarded a judgment for $30 million. But guess what Sally Sue PA has? Sally Sue may have $3 million in a savings account, all this real estate, all these other things, but the PA has about three grand. That's pretty much it. That's what I got for you right now. That's what I got for you. That's what you can reach. You can reach these $3,000, not my 3 million, not my real estate, not anything else that's in my personal name. Because the entity that provided this service to you is Sally Sue PA and not me individually. So you can only reach what the PA has. So to Tiffany's question, let's run through the process. The first step, you're going to go on SunBiz and create the entity. You're going to go on SunBiz and create the entity. Now, I'm going to drop in the chat. I'm going to drop in the community a link to this training that I did like last year, where we actually go through SunBiz and do a mock filing. So that's actually going to go through the mock filing and show you, give you the information that you should place in there. For today, let's just go over the steps. You're going to go to SunBiz and create your entity. Your entity is going to be your name as a realtor. The entity is going to be your name, PA-LLC or PLLC. You cannot use a vanity name. This is important. A brokerage can use a vanity name. The individual must be their name. Whatever your name is, or however your name is licensed, if it's Tiffany Daniels on your license, then it's Tiffany Daniels PA. It can't be Daniels Realty PA. No. No vanity names. It has to be your name, PA, LLC, or PLLC. Right? So that was number 3. Must be your sales associate, broker associate name, cannot be a vanity name. And when you go on SunBiz, this is what the SunBiz page looks like. And again, you're welcome, Tish. Again, we're going to post in the community my prior full training on this. That's going to walk you through the actual pages of this SunBiz page. Now, once you do the filing, so how much, I want to put a pin here. It can take, so back, about 6 months ago, it was taking DBPR. It was taking the Department of, it was taking SunBiz a long time. It was taking them like, months. It's taking like 2 months to get an entity incorporated. My understanding is they're moving faster now, but it's not something that you get right away. It's going to be a couple days for them to process it. I would say give it about 2 weeks. It should not, back in the day, it didn't take that long. It would take them like maybe a week. But 6 months ago, it was taking them like 8 weeks. So let's say 2 weeks. Let's kind of meet in the middle and say 2 weeks. It may take them to get back to you, confirming that your entity is now incorporated, right? So assuming we've gotten past that, or if they come, they may come back for clarification for some reason. If you made any errors in the filing, they'll send you an email saying, make this correction. You make that correction. And again, you just go through that review process again. But I would say give them about a week or two to get back to you. Once you get the confirmation that your entity is set up, then you're going to go to the irs.gov and you're going to create your employer identification number. Again, in that same training, we go there, but I'm going to tell you that we're not able to get past the initial pages simply because you literally have to put in a social security number. And obviously I will not put my social security number in there to obtain an EIN for practice purposes, but it's self-explanatory once you get there as well. They're going to ask you a couple questions and then they're going to give you an EIN number. So now, like your social security number is tied to you personally, that EIN number is going to be tied to your PA or your LLC or your PLLC. Now that entity is a whole person all by itself that's separate and apart from you, both legally, and now it's going to be separate from you financially, right? So now you have your EIN. From there, you need to update DBPR. That's using form RE16, unless they've changed it. That's the form that you use to now contact DBPR and say, hey, I need my license to be updated to reflect Sally Sue PA, Tiffany Daniels PA, right? They're going to change your license, and your license now is going to be in your name, in your entity name. Okay. And once they confirm it, then you update your broker. Once DBPR updates your license, now you need to update your broker that you have this new entity with your payments information. And now all your payments are going to be made to that entity, to your PA, because that's the entity that provided the service, that provided the real estate service, right? So that's step 3. Moving to the financials, you are going to open a bank account for the PA. And of course, you're going to get a debit card, right? Then you're going to consult with a CPA or your tax preparer about filing the additional form. If you're going to file as an S Corp, I'm not a tax attorney. Don't ask me when you should, why you should. Get with your tax preparer on filing, making a designation of an S Corp election. Most times, I am going to tell you, most times the election makes sense. 99% of the time it makes sense, but get with your tax preparer for direction on that, whether or not you need to file the form. And that's an IRS form 2553 S Corp election. You are electing for your entity to be an S Corp, right? Now, once you are approved with the bank, once you have the bank account, you should set up a banking system, an accounting system. There's something called RealtyZam. There's QuickBooks for Realtors. There's regular QuickBooks, just an accounting service. At this point, you should be keeping up with your business financials. This is your business financials, right? It's a pain, I know. It's a pain, I know, to try and keep up with business financials. So a stopgap, something to do in between where you are now and putting that financial planning accounting system in place, is to use one account for your expenses. So apply for a business credit card or line of credit with your bank when you open that account. Even if they give you $500, that's the start of something, guys. That's the start of a credit line for your business. And it's also the start of capital, right? It's the start of capital for your business. Also, depending upon the type of card, and we're going to talk about this next week, the type of card, you can start getting some rewards. What about miles? What about credits towards, like I have a card that gives me money for Amazon, like it gives me credits that I can spend on Amazon. So CPAs are requesting sign PA taxes easily. Oh, Jeanette, that's a good question. No, I haven't. I've seen that before. And if you trust your CPA, then it shouldn't be an issue. But I have definitely signed a POA before for my tax preparer to do that. So the only concern is if you have concerns about them. So that's a very good question. So apply for a business credit card. If you cannot qualify for a credit card, definitely at least use no problem. Definitely use that business bank account for all of your business expenses, right? So even if you are funding that business account to start, because maybe it's your first deal, you haven't closed any deals yet. People deposit capital funds all the time to their business to start their business. They will your CPA, when they file your personal taxes, they will show it as a capital contribution to your business, right? So you want to, what is the DBPR form? For which? The form RE16 for changing the name. That what she's asking for. All right. If you cannot get a credit card, going back to this, use the same debit card. Use the same debit card so that when you do your accounting at the end of the month, God forbid that you wait until the end of the year, at least it should be at least through the end of the month. All your expenses are in one place. And I'm talking about your gas. I'm talking about food for business lunches. I'm talking about closing gifts. I'm talking about branded swag with your company name on it. I'm talking about classes that you're taking. I'm talking about association dues. I'm talking about trips that you take to attend training. All of your business expenses should run on that credit card or through that checking account. Do not run it through your personal account for a number of reasons. Again, even if you take funds from your personal account to fund the business account so that the expenses can run through the business account, run them through the business account. Your CPA will thank you. You will thank you. Everything will be cleaner if you run it through your business account. It's better for you to run it through your business account for your CPA to then say, that might not qualify because actually, this is the third, than for you to sort through your personal expenses to try and dump it all on your business, right? It's better to let them sort through what you have there than you try and dump it all back over there. So remember, a business credit card or preferably, because I start building some credit and let's also get some rewards, or if not, the business account. So speaking of tax planning, again, once you run all the expenses through that business account, it's going to make it easier, right? So next week, this isn't the clearest because I condensed it all on one screen. You guys are going to have this to complete. Next week, as we get into the cost of doing business and what do you want to make? Next week's topic is show me the money. Okay. With business planning, we don't know what to plan for if we don't know what we're trying to get to. What do I mean by that? I mean, if we don't know that we're trying to make, a gross commission of $300,000 at the end of the year, and we don't know what does that number even mean? Like, what should that number be? That number, that the gross commission or even the net commission that you're looking for is based on all these figures. I'm gonna do a better form than this, Karen. This one is, I'm gonna do something even better than this. Like I did a screenshot of this one to place on the slide, but you guys are it's gonna be more line items than this. Because we don't, and this is from personal experience, like we underestimate our expenses. So that list is going to be super long. You're going to be like, oh my God, like, I guess I do have all these. I'm talking about haircuts. I'm talking about nails for ladies. I'm talking about pedicures, manicures. I'm talking about, do you have a, gym membership, a massage membership, events, all those different things you have to take into consideration, right? When you're coming up with your budget. And then even for your business, what are all the little small expenses you have to think about for your business? So all of those figures are what we need to look, dry cleaning, exactly, everything. Like what would help is if you really just, what I did was I looked back at my my personal bank account, and I'm like, okay, these are all the things that I'm spending money on, right? And even in the business, here are all the different things that I'm spending money on. And if it was not in the budget, it needed to be added to the budget because that's an expense that wasn't considered, right? So we have to add all these expenses that we did not consider. So that's next week's topic. Show me the money. We're going to come up with our figures. Sometimes we work backwards. Not sometimes, a lot of times we work backwards. We see what comes in and then try and make that fit versus knowing what we need to bring in and then building the plan towards that number. Building the plan towards hitting that number. All right. All right. So recap. You guys are going to get the link to my longer training on this topic in the community. In that training, I actually go onto SunBiz and do a mock incorporation. So you'll be able to see each screen and each tab as you complete that. You guys are going to set that up. You're going to go through all the different steps to get that set up. Because again, you're a business. You're a business. You're operating as a business, not an individual. Okay. And then next week, now that the business is set up, let's talk about the money. Let's talk about the money. The last thing I did not mention, and I got to go back to this. Here's the other reason. Payroll. I missed this. Number 8, payroll. Payroll. The PA needs to pay the individual payroll. It needs to pay the individual payroll. Because when we start engaging in activities that require showing payroll, you need to show payroll, right? Get ready to buy a house, an investment property. You want to show that you have, oh Lord, yes, Jeanette. yes, that's got to take the next steps. I'm glad you said that. Yes. So payroll is the next step. Payroll is the final feature of setting up that PA. Because again, you go to purchase a home or anything where they're looking to see your W-2s or, income history. It's great to be able to show yourself on payroll. All right. All right. In closing, we made it right at the 30-minute mark. In closing, wealth, guys, wealth planning. Wealth comes from planning. Wealth does not come, what if you have or start another business? Can you have a mother company? Wealth, one second, Leah. Wealth does not come just dry long so, right? Yeah, there are some what we call trust fund babies, or you inherit and all those types of things. But most wealthy people, we know, most are self-made. But even if you inherit money, you still have to know how to manage it to keep it, right? So, in closing, say don't go. No, I won't. I'll be here. In closing, riches do not come by crossing your fingers and walking through the day hoping. Riches and wealth come from well-laid plans. Well-laid plans. So we're going to build our wealth and our riches in our business from well-laid plans. The first step in that plan is our incorporation today. We have our license. The next step today is incorporation. Make sure we incorporate so that we can build from there. Because all the wealth and riches that we bring in are going to be protected, right? We won't have that Sally Sue situation. And we're going to be able to enjoy the tax benefits of owning a business, guys. Owning a business is the greatest benefit. And oftentimes it can feel like a burden. But when owning your business, you get to self-direct what's a business expense and not. Can you purchase a home with a PA? Technically you can, but will the lender approve? If you're financing it, the lender has to approve that entity. So that would be an investment loan. If you purchase in cash, you can take it in whatever name you want. So the short answer is yes. If you're financing it, the lender may want to hear something, but that's a good point. So let's take it here. So Tish has set up her PA as a real estate realtor. And so let's say Tish decides she wants to, Tish is grown, right? And she is going to continue to operate this business. What if she purchases a building cash and she puts it in the name of her business? She can. She might want to put it in a separate LLC for the same protection reasons, but let's say she didn't. This is a business asset. I purchased it in my business name. Tish PA. Can, because businesses can own assets, right? So that's a very good question. And again, as business owners, this is how we think, right? Again, for protection purposes, depending upon the asset, you might want that asset to be in its own entity. In which case, guess what? You're going to do the same process. You're going to go back to SunBiz and you're going to create a different LLC. And it's just going to be for the purposes of holding that asset. Prime example, one of the reasons why I know for sure that SunBiz was taking as long as it was is because I was trying to incorporate an entity myself, as well as we had clients that were closing and they wanted to close in the name of an LLC versus taking in their individual names. And the incorporations were not being completed by closing. So they had to take it in their individual names. Once they incorporated, quit claimed it over to their entity. All right, guys, really quickly, Tiffany, I see your hand really quickly before you go. These are our next training sessions. To be clear, on Tuesdays, guys, I have been engaged by the association to teach substantive classes every Tuesday. We do our huddle still on Thursday. So you see the difference with our huddles. We come in, we do a quick hit. Business planning is generally the theme on our Thursday calls. On our Tuesday calls, we get into the more substantive matters of our business. So Tuesday, I did contract to close. Next Tuesday is closed and funded, title insurance, and the closing process for realtors. The next week is clear to close. We're learning about purchase mortgages and the lending process for realtors. If you guys have been on any of my classes, I tell you, you guys need to understand what is going on when the lenders are processing these files so that you can ask the right questions, right? And so that you can also educate your clients as well. The following week is a 3-hour continuing education, as is residential contract class, writers review. Is that writers or is purchase? That's just the purchase. That's not writers. That needs to be corrected. That's just the class itself. If you're a member of RAPB, you can attend that class for free and get 3 continuing education classes. And then the 29th is actually the writers. So we need to update that. Take a picture of that. Let's send them the update. What else? I think that's it. If you got questions, will it be emailed? Yes, it's going to be posted in the community. I'm going to post it in the community. It's up on YouTube right now, but just so you go to the actual one, we'll post it in the community. No problem. All right, guys, that's all I got. For those that got questions, feel free to hang back. Tiffany, what's up?
I just had a quick question. Because I have 2 LLC, one for investing and one for because I just recently did my PLLC, and I have a bank account with the investing. Can I use that for the? Can I use the same bank account?
You shouldn't. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Which one are you using for your real estate business? Not the investment business, for the one where that has your license tied to it. Which one has your real estate license tied to it? Does anyone have your real estate license tied to it yet?
No, because I just recently started the PLLC.
Okay, that's fine. So whichever one is going to have your license tied to it, that's the one you should have. That's the one that will have its own bank account. I do not suggest that you mix monies from your investment entity with your real estate services business for the same reason. If you have an issue on the investment side and there's a judgment against you because you have monies in this real estate company that we call it co-mingling. They're gonna reach that money as well.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You guys don't know, did you make sure you guys go to the Facebook community? And how did you you're not in the community, expertuniversity.com? Okay, if you're in the Facebook community, that's where we're gonna post it. That's where we're gonna post it. Leah said, what if you have or starting another business, can you have a mother company? So Leah, if I understand what you are asking, you're saying a parent company?
Yes, because I'm getting ready to branch out of my day job, which is in medical, and start a health coaching business, as well as my real estate. And I was told that I should have a mother company and putting the other two under as a DBA, and I'm confused.
Okay, so that's a good question. So this is similar to what Tiffany asked about. Your healthcare company is certainly going to be separate from your real estate company. So let's say, for example, you can't. So when we say the term parent company, for example, I want to give you an example of something, and I'm going to use our brands as an example. So we have Experts Group, we have Title Experts, Mortgage Experts, Transaction Experts. We have the law firm. This is a parent brand. This brand does not own these companies. It can, but it does not. It's just it's a brand. You do not want to. So with your real estate company, with your license, you can't even have a non-licensed real estate individual own your real estate company. Let's start there. Does that make sense? It has to be. It cannot just be some random company that is the owner of the company that you're setting up to hold your real estate license, right?
Okay.
So getting past that, so Leah PA is set up with Leah as the manager of it, or the owner of it, and the registered agent. That's a company all by itself. You can, for example, have a brand that kind of operates, so say you're saying you're the health expert, and as part of your health expert, you do diet plans, you do coaching on healthy living, and you also have you help people find healthy living in communities, right? But that real estate company itself is a separate entity all by itself.
Okay, so it is okay to just keep them separate and just have separate entities without having a mother company.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure, because that's how I was planning it, but someone else was like, well, I have 3 businesses. You need to have a mother company and put them under DBA. And I'm like, okay, I'm confused now.
And a DBA is completely different. No, a DBA, you can't do a DBA. A DBA is if you have an entity, but you're doing business as a vanity name is what I would call it. So let's say, for example, my company is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is what's incorporated. That's what the entity official name is. Doing business as Pepsi. Pepsi is not an entity. Pepsi is just a brand name. It is a name that I'm using in the market. That's what a DBA is. I'm doing business as this fictitious name. But this fictitious name is not an entity all by itself. If you go look for Pepsi Cola, you're not going to find it. You're just going to find this brand name that I'm using. You will find Coca-Cola because that's an actual physical thing. It's almost like a nickname. My name is Racole, but call me Coley. You're not going to find Coley. You're going to find Racole. Gotcha. That's what a DBA is. So that's a whole separate conversation. So yeah, we're going way far. But that's what a DBA is.
Well, I appreciate the explanation.
Right. Did I get somebody else said don't leave? Who said don't leave?
It was me.
Okay.
But I think you just answered it with her, because what I did was create a LLC as like a big one, and doing business as Emanuela for the real estate, and have one business account and all of it under. So I think I have to start all over, right?
Yes, ma'am. You cannot doing business as Emanuela.
For the real estate.
You
Okay.
can not for the real estate license itself. If you want to just have a brand name out there doing business as Emanuela, which I don't think you want to do. If you're gonna incorporate Emanuela PA.
Yeah, Emanuela PA.
Right. That just needs to be its whole entity by itself.
Okay.
You should not have, and then so keep that by itself, and you shouldn't have some separate entity that's doing business as Emanuela, because now you're creating confusion in the market.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
Good questions. Very good questions. Yeah. I mean, just keep it simple, guys. Just go ahead and incorporate your name. You don't need to do anything sophisticated with it. Just go ahead and incorporate your name, attach your license to your entity, go get a bank account, go get the monies. All right.
Hey, Racole,
All right.
but one last question. I know you're ready to go, and I apologize
No, go
for
ahead.
holding us up. But with the other entity outside of our real estate license, we can have a fictitious name. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. That's the doing business as. Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
Yep.
So that's the
So like
right
for example, again, just going back to what I said, just you set up an entity and you're doing business. Let's just say, for example, you just want to change the name. Let's use the Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola example again. So we have Coca-Cola Incorporated, its actual physical entity. And see, what ends up happening is too, going back to the EIN, Coca-Cola has history. It has an EIN that's been used for 100 years, right? I just don't want to use this name anymore. But I don't want to lose all this history. I don't want to lose all this leverage that I have from having this entity in place. That entity is like an actual living thing, guys.
Right.
Like that's why
so
people
Coca-Cola,
sell.
like
they
your
sell
example,
companies.
Coca-Cola, and then doing business as Pepsi would be the sub name.
It would be a DBA, doing business as.
DBA name for the Coca-Cola. Okay.
Right. And DBAs, adding another layer, DBAs are registered with some biz as well. Just so you know.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you, Smarty Party. Thank you.
All good questions. All good questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So let's say you have everything set up and you do an S corp. Are you supposed to be making a certain type of income before you can do that, or is there an income limit?
No, S corp is a taxing setup. It's how how the entity is taxed, whether the taxes are passed through or they stay with the entity. So that's a taxing structure. It has nothing to do about your income or if you have 100 grand in there before or not.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It's how the taxes are levied against the business versus the owner of the business.
Understand.
All right. If there be no more, I will see you guys. I will see you at the 8th, closed and funded. Make sure you're there. Title insurance and the closing process for realtors. Bye, Renee.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're like typing at the same time. You're welcome. We're typing at the same time, Renee. See you later. Bye, Sandra.
Okay, bye-bye, baby.
All right.
Okay.